What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we are less than a week away from the season starting our season. The season starts officially Thursday, but it's crazy. And as I mentioned many times before, we've said a lot of players who have not been practicing, not been playing, are going to play in week one. That's been the expectation this whole time. That's what Coach McDaniel's been saying. That's what agents have been saying, that everybody's going to play in week one. Well, you can't just play in week one without practicing. So today, a lot of people came back to practice. Darren Waller came to practice. Tyree came to practice. Um, Austin Jackson came back to practice. Devon Achan came back to practice. They just said, hey, if you've been on the cusp of playing, we're bringing everybody back just for this week. It feels like the Avengers. We just brought everybody back. The idea being, we're going to see you this week. If you are good to go, do you play on Sunday? Very simple. If we see any level of eh, any hiccup, yeah, I'm kind of feeling some latent pain, shutting you down. You're not playing week one. So this week is gonna really be our big test as to whether these people play in week one. I've already told you I didn't think everybody was gonna play week one. Jalen Wright was the first to kind of fall domino wise. I'm really looking forward to seeing Austin Jackson practice this week because he is the blind side protector of Tua. We kind of need to know, hey, is he playing? Is he not playing? Um, I know Waddle's been out of practice, but there hasn't really been a doubt as to whether he was playing. Tyreek's had an oblique injury, so that can linger. Waller's just trying to get back in shape. We know kind of what that looks like. So Devon Achan is the surprise. I actually thought they were going to more or less game time decision Devon. I didn't think he would be practicing this week. Again, we know how important he is to the running game. He's our running back one. He is our most explosive, like all around option. There's no real comp for his spot, and he has a calf injury, which we know is dangerously close to the Achilles. So I am very much looking forward to seeing how everyone practices this week. I don't believe I haven't seen any indication that it's going to be like a minutes restriction, snap count. As far as I know, they're practicing as if they're going to play. So we're gonna have everybody out there. They're gonna be giving it their best. We want to see how fast you are. And again, most of these guys on our team are fast, so we need to practice them fast because they're gonna play fast. Austin Jackson doesn't have to be fast. He just needs to get in the way of people. But um, I'm looking forward to it. I don't want any setbacks. As I'm sure all of you at home feel the same way. We want to see everybody practice. Everyone get through the week of practice. People to improve a little bit. To see Darren Waller on the field with Tyreek and Waddle for the first time, that's exciting. Because it's different when you're practicing with Taj and Malik, and now you're out here with the two big dogs. It's like, oh, it's a lot more field out here when these fast guys are chewing up 30 yards in 3 seconds. Like, yeah, it's nice to run underneath that whole thing. Also, this will give Tua a more realistic look as to what the team will look like, right? Because when you're practicing with one starter, two non-starters, it's not you're doing it, but you're not doing it to how you should be doing it. When all the starters are out there, and you got Austin Jackson out there, so now like that comfort will come back. I know he hasn't said it publicly. He's been very complimentary of the team and like gassing everybody up. I didn't think Tua looked comfortable in a couple of the times I saw him on the field during the preseason, and I meant like he was speeding up what he should be doing because he didn't know if that right tackle was going to do his job as he should. We had backups and third string tackles in. I understand why you don't feel like maybe that's the person that should be blocking for me, but I want to see Tua like comfortable. So maybe he steps into a throw a little with a little bit more authority versus throwing it and like floating away from it versus like leaving a pocket that's kind of safe but kind of not about to be because now you're throwing on a run, which is you're just gonna be less accurate because you're moving. I want to see him with real protection, throwing to his real targets, him being locked in. This is great for Tua because he's actually been here. He's been a willing participant. He's gotten hit a lot more than we wanted him to get hit by, but that's part of the process of getting ready for the year. So I am hyped that we're getting people back. My knock on wood that everyone gets to the week. Everybody looks good. And come Sunday, everybody that is currently trying to get back to the field makes it to the field on Sunday, and they get through the game, and we get a dub, of course. Captains have been named, which we knew this was going to happen right before the year. Now, this is going to lead to some level of controversy. I'm sure some of you have already seen the controversy because it's a thing. So Tua was named the captain, Aaron Brewer, Zach Sealer, um, Jordan Brooks, Alec Ingold, and Bradley Chubb have all been named captains. Obviously, not on that list is Tyreek Hill. Before we get to Tyreek, though, let's lean into the people who were named captains. This all checks out to me. I don't know who I would take off the list to put someone else on. I think these are all leaders. I can maybe see Bradley Chubb not making it because he didn't play last year, um, and he's trying to work his way back. So maybe if your captains are based on kind of how they play, also and how they lead, I can see you maybe making a case for there just being five captains and him not making the list. But Bradley's been a great leader. He's been very vocal. He's been great with Chop. Um, he's just a great locker room guy. So the team helps vote for this. So if the team thinks he should be a captain, then they see value in everything he does. No smoke for me. I think this is makes sense. You got your quarterback, your center, you got your top linebacker, fullback who needs to be basically like an extra offensive lineman, and of course like best D tackle, best maybe not best outside linebacker, but high up there. All the positions kind of check out. Now the controversy gets into the fact that Tyreek Hill was not named captain. This seemed predictable, right? Tyreek was has been talking all off season about I want to earn the captainship. I want to earn the captainship. He's been doing all the right stuff, more or less, right? I think him not playing in the preseason probably hurt his captainship chances because when he's just on the sideline, I don't see Tyreek as like a coach type guy. Meaning, like taking a receiver like Yo Malik, you got to run that route, like come here and break it. Like I don't see that from what Tyreek is. Tyreek to me is a watch what I do on the field guy and then follow my lead. That's kind of how that's the vibe I get from him. He's not super vocal, like in terms of like the X's and O part of it. Watch me go out and cook, and I'm so good at me doing that you want me to kind of like lead the team. So when he's not playing, he's either not really around the team or he's holding a clipboard listening to the plays. But none of those things are like, yo, Tyreek's about to be a great leader. Also, on top of all of that, the off season's been dicey to say the least. It got off to a really rough start, and it didn't keep going down, but it didn't tick up enough to override the part that brought us down. Once you attack the team and their how they want to play and what their intensity level looks like, it's hard to then be like, oh yeah, I want that guy to lead my team. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. The minute he said what he said, to me, the captainship was out the window. I know he said he was working to get it back. I don't know how you get it back. It's like relationships are built like buildings, right? So just because you go to a new level, the level you were just at is still there. If there's distrust and you know something that's not working as part of that relationship, you just keep building up. That part didn't go away, especially if it's not properly addressed. It's like covering up something. Oh, just put it under the rug. I'm like, yeah, but there's a hole underneath that rug. Like we should know what's happening there. Um, I do think Tyreek's tried to be better. I just think that he had dug himself such a pit with the team that I don't know what he would have had to do to like get himself out. He would have had to be like Russell Wilson level team rah rah guy, high energy. And that's not really who Tyreek has been. So it seemed predictable that this would happen, but now it's like official, official. Coach McDaniel actually had a comment on the captain situation. Here's what he said: "We were focused on giving the keys to captaincy to guys that have earned it each and every day. That's what speaks to me the most is a football team that knows who it wants to be led by." That I listen. That's the one. Who do y'all want to be led by? That's really what it is. Like you're a reflection of the team. Obviously, Tyreek's one of the best players on the team. No one disputes that. But do I want Tyreek being the guy out front for my team? Because I don't know what his level of commitment is. I don't know how much he believes in us. He's been injured. What are we doing with that? I think this is a good wake up call. I've been saying that a lot this offseason. Tyreek going from number 8 to number 47 in the top 100 rankings should be a wake up call. Same thing for Tua falling down to 91. That should be a wake up call. Same thing with Coach McDaniel being on a hot seat. That should be a wake up call. Same thing with Chris Greer. People being like, hey, have you done a good job? That should be a wake up call. That's what this team is facing this year. They're wake up calls across the board. And some people are going to wake up and get out of bed and go to work and do the right thing. And some are going to hit snooze. And the ones who hit snooze probably won't be on the team next year. That's that's probably how that works. Like you got to get up and do something. And for Tyreek, this is why when Tua said what he said about, yeah, we're trying to work our way back. We got some work to do. And then people jump down his throat like, how could you say that? I never thought that was just Tua and Tyreek's relationship. I never thought that. I immediately thought that guys have come to Tua being like, yo, man, that Tyreek situation, that's kind of crazy, right, man? I don't know. And then Tua was like, nah, man, Reek is one of us. We got you. It's not just Tua and Tyreek that aren't on the same page. There's 50 other guys who are like, hey, he basically said, I'm incompetent at my job or I don't care. I got beef with that. But they can't just run up on Tyreek because he's obviously like a bigger status, more important, higher paid guy on the team. I thought when Tua said what he said, he was speaking for a lot of guys on the team who don't have a voice. And that's why he said it publicly so they can know that he's got their back. But that's what this is showing me. When the team voted for captains, they added six captains and you weren't one of them. That tells me that they don't want you to lead them. And honestly, he hasn't really earned the right to lead them going into this year. And a much smaller but kind of sad story, Pharaoh Brown's been released today. So we brought Pharaoh Brown in as our first like free agent tight end. And the idea was that he would be a great run blocking tight end with occasional upside catching the ball. He is not a prolific Johnu Smith, like down the field level guy. He's not a Darren Waller. He's more like a glorified extra offensive lineman who, if you forget about it, will get loose and get behind you. This is interesting to me because we haven't seen Darren Waller like play for real yet. And for the team to cut who presumably is the backup tight end, that tells me either they have a tremendous amount of confidence in Darren Waller or they're about to go make another roster move where they feel like the drop off from Farrow to maybe Tanner is not a big enough drop off to merit the pick or the position. They're going to go get somebody else to fill another void for the team. Either way, I didn't think Farrow was going to just get sliced. That is surprising to me. I have questions about the running game because Darren Waller is not an amazing blocker. So if that the idea is that Darren's going to get more of the workload, well, part of Farrow's appeal is that we're going to get better on the ground. Darren comes in, we'll get better at the pass, which we obviously are pretty good at already. I want to be able to run the ball. So we wish Farrell the best. I mean, he might clear waivers and end up back in the practice squad. That would be cool. I don't know what the market for him is. I just think he's good at his niche kind of job, and occasionally, especially in the red zone, that block, come off the line, turn around, be a giant target. That play is always in the playbook, or block and release, run a straight seam. Those are always on the table, but he's no longer on the team, so we wish you the best, and maybe he'll circulate back to us, and we'll make it happen. All right, jump back into the comments, and I've been on Twitter a lot of the day just because, and I guess some odds came out from the season about playoffs chances and divisions and records. So I saw a thing that said the Dolphins have a 34% chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, other people saw it as well. Asked me, how do you feel about those odds? 34%. I don't know, like that's a tough one to calculate. I would say 50% above would be too much. I definitely don't think we have a 50-50 shot to make the playoffs. I think there's a handful of teams that people just expect to make it. If I told you Philadelphia missed the playoffs, it would be like, what do you mean? That would be shocking, right? I think if the Dolphins miss it, I think a number of people are like, that makes sense to me. But 34, almost 35% tells me that that's still a pretty good chance to make it. But the over under record for the team was 8-9. So 8-9 does not get you in the playoffs. But 35% chance feels like there's a real shot to make it. I, of course, think there's a real shot we're going to make the playoffs because anytime Tua's been healthy, we have mostly won. Tua wins about 60% of his games, if not a little bit more. You win 60% of your games during the year, you make the playoffs. That's 10-7. That's what that is. So I think for sure the team can make it. I think the main variables that we need to take into account for real is how long are guys going to stay healthy. I've seen injury luck kind of go like this, right? So some years you're just decimated by injuries, and then some years you're remarkably healthy. So a team like Philly was super healthy last year. Detroit super unlucky. They got Everybody on their defense just said, "Hey, I don't want to play football anymore," and they all got hurt like within a few weeks of each other. They went from being, "Yo, Detroit might be the best team," to they have the worst defense in the league. Happens overnight. We have had awful injury luck. Awful. Last year, all the best defenders, quarterback, right, just brutal. This year, also bad injury luck, which is not how that's supposed to go. So maybe we just timed the injuries better. That's really the hope. Did we just time the injuries where guys got hurt in the preseason first couple weeks, and then for the actual run of the season, they're healthy and available to be on the field? Because that's as much a possibility as them just getting re-hurt again. But we had tons of injuries last year, even when Vic Fangio was there 2 years ago. Like it's been something that we've had a lot of. Like we haven't been a particularly healthy team, and I don't think any team that's perennially like unhealthy makes the playoffs. Almost nobody's deep enough to have multiple good players, multiple starters, not play, and then you just make the playoffs. That's not really how it works. You're When you're doing your predictions, you have to predict based on us being whole. That has to be how it goes. If you're predicting, oh, that guy's not going to finish the year, then all right, you can do that same thing about Joe Burrow. He's been hurt a few times. Why not him? Like Saquon Barkley was a free agent because people thought, oh, that guy gets hurt all the time. Had the best year of his career, but he's just as likely to have a similar year or get hurt again. But Philadelphia is still odds-on favorite to go to the Super Bowl, so no one's predicting he was going to get hurt. It's like they forgot about the injury history because of 1 year of not being hurt. He's back. Christian McCaffrey is going to play at some point this year, but do you think Christian McCaffrey is going to play 17 games or get hurt? Because I've seen varying San Francisco numbers where they feel like, oh, Christian's gonna be back. He needed that time off, and some are like, that dude's washed. His knees are gone. Who knows? I think healthy Dolphins get in. I think unhealthy Dolphins in the wrong places, meaning offensive line and quarterback, yeah, probably not. I think we can actually sustain a couple injuries on defense. I think our defense is not, we're not at this level of defense. So if we're like here and we go to here, I don't think it changes the team totally. There may be a play or two that a starter would make that a backup person wouldn't make. We don't have a Michael Parsons type impact or like a, you know, Derek Stingley like Pat Surtain level guy where it's like they're so much more elite that the drop off is like woof. If we drop off now, it's like, all right, you're not as good, but you can kind of still fit in. So I think on defense we can take a couple of injuries. I don't think we can sustain any long term offensive line injury. I just think we're just not deep enough there, especially with even some of our backups like Eichenberg being hurt. It's like even if we had some injuries, we don't even have the backup ready. We're on to our third string. Like I don't want any part of that. And of course, Tua not playing is a non-starter. But I'm basing this on health. I don't see any reason the Dolphins wouldn't win 9 or 10 games if fully healthy. And so I kind of gotta say I disagree with the number, but we do know NFL stuff happens. People do get injured. People do fall off performance wise. We assume every year people just keep getting better and better and better, but sometimes they don't. It's like that could be a blip. We've all seen like not the Peyton Hillis level player, but like we've seen people where we thought, oh, they're for sure on their way up. And then you look up a couple years later and say, maybe not. Like it doesn't always work out. I would have told you Brees Hall would be, a top three running back at this point, and he just never got that much better. He got hurt, but just didn't quite work out. The fact that Derrick Henry at 31 is still dominant, don't see that coming. That's not typically how that works, but it did. So Saquon had his best year like in the sixth or seventh season. That how that works? Not always. Um, I'm really betting on Tua being healthy this year because I think we're going to run the ball more, and I think offensive line is better. I know, like he can't be out here spearing people like he's Goldberg or or Roman Reigns. He can't be out here going crazy. If he just plays his position, I assume he's going to be healthy. That's my assumption, but life does happen, and they have to make their odds. They throw numbers out. We saw with the whole college football thing. And don't think I'm not going to comment on that at some point. We talked all offseason about next year's quarterback draft, and I kept saying I don't know why we just assume they're going to be great. We're only 1 week into it, but Did you see anybody generational out there? Like, but they assume because the year before, oh man, Cade was amazing. Oh, Nussmeier was great. Oh, Arch looked good against Sam Houston State and some low level teams. They're gonna make a big leap, and then you see them on the field like they look kind of similar to last year. I'm sure they're doing all the right things. Maybe as the year goes on, they will blossom into these people that we thought could change a franchise. But I mean, I was told all off season, can't miss draft, rivaling 1983. Oh my God! And then you watch the games, and it's like, well, they didn't improve the way you thought they would. That's kind of how football goes. Sometimes people fall off faster than you thought they would, and sometimes they don't improve like you think they can. But I thought Kyler Murray would be one of the best quarterbacks in the league already. Didn't quite happen. So I'm not going off of what analyst or some kind of computer tells me about what a team is. I watch the team. I have eyes and I have my own football compass, I guess. I think as a healthy team, we're going to be fine. Unhealthy, less fine. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.